Shaolin, now all I touch, I am a master here.
Mr. Luke the Duke Denvers, just getting you on the call tonight, mate, because what we're going to discuss the history of Luke Denvers. We're going to do that first. Yeah, and then obviously how you came about in this band, how you started your journey in this band, and what the message and everything is to you. And obviously then we'll discuss our next release with you and the meaning behind that, which is exciting. We've also got Ryan here. He's on this side of me.
How you doing, everyone?
Yes, Rhino.
And like I said, Ryan's going to mediate between the two of us to stop us, because we go on, don't we, mate? We go on.
No, he's going to ask me the serious questions. You're going to try and made off.
I want a good, clean fight.
Right, yeah, Dennis. So, where did your musical journey begin?
Well, Dale, if I'm being absolutely honest with that, that's on the way to football training with my dad in car, listening to Rod Stewart and Squeeze. If I'm going to be totally honest with everyone and lay all my cards on the table right off the bat, that's where I'm going to tell you it began. 100%. Yeah. I owe it to them. But no, I think I probably started listening to music in the car with my dad. Like most people probably say that's where you have to listen to whatever your dad's listening to, because you're driving me, your dad, or at least my dad would, and he'd have 2 or 3 CDs or tapes. That'd be it. So it'd be just constantly for a good 6 months until Christmas came around, and someone would get him another one that he probably already had because they knew him too well. So it'd stay one again.
It's true.
So
mate,
I was stuck in a cycle my childhood. So Squeeze, Rod Stewart, and Eagles. No, but I suppose when I grew up and could decide for myself, I was just at high school and stuff, and decided to, out of the blue, just wanted to be a musician and wanted to be in a band. After probably like hearing the first major sort of indie troll of acts come through, like Arctic Monkeys and whatnot. And then I bought a Yamaha guitar, 40 quid off my mate with a little spider amp. Yes. Took it home. I had no idea what to do with it. Just plugged it in, turned it on, and just twatted the strings for a good 30 minutes.
That was it, your first song.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
I think we all go through that stage, don't we? We all get I think mine was a little cheap. I think I got it off a dad's mate or something, like a little Squire Argos effort with a tiny little amp.
I bought it off the goalkeeper of Dewsbury Rangers, my mate, the gardener, 40 quid, Yamaha guitar, and a little spider amp. And then 2 of my mates, George and Pickers, they were like, "Oh, I'll buy drum kit, you buy bass." Just that typical sort of story, I suppose. And we just taught ourselves. We didn't teach each other, buddy. I'll find out. Taught ourselves, and started to love music and going to gigs. From that, really, I don't know where else to go without telling you my life story in about 45 minutes worth of time. I could walk you through my life.
Get into it, mate. No, that's fine. I mean, everyone wants to know where you started and stuff like that. Well, everyone, me and Ryan, want to know where you started, because I've never heard that before. But it's funny how we all have kind of similar stories. I mean, Ryan, imagine what was yours like, because you obviously a big Irish family and stuff like that. Was yours slightly different, or is it exactly the same?
Yeah, it wasn't exclusively Squeeze and Rod Stewart. Great artists though, respectively. No, mine was similar. Yeah, it was. I grew up around music. Like all my family were musicians, are musicians, and I was playing all the time. Learned music by ear. Never really had a guitar lesson or anything. And first guitar was similar to yours. I had a Peavey. I can't remember what they were called now. I think it was a Peavey Raptor.
We've had some belters here. Raptor.
I think I know someone who's still got it. I think Jake Caven's still got it. I sold it to him. I hope he's still got it. It'd be cool to get that back. Yeah, and the rest was history, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose that's it, really.
Similar standards.
Shit guitar talk.
Started a band as soon as I got to high school. Spent lunches and nights after school playing constantly with loads of
Did you do it
people.
in the music room at school?
Music room.
I still in Mrs. Lee's
This is
music
mad.
room to go in and try and get
the
the
same.
really bad sort of £99 drum kit out with skins
Yeah.
were all over and proper masting. The cymbals are like the spin lids.
The best thing is about those type of drum kits in those schools, I was discussing this with Joe Dahl the other day, is that those drum kits got battered every hour of the day because people who didn't even know how to play drums would just come in and hit it.
Batter them.
Yeah. For no reason.
It's true, isn't it?
I'm sure that's where I lost my hearing as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I bet it was you banging on them drums, Ryan. Definitely got to have been you.
Yeah.
Just fucking hitting everything. Guitars everywhere, just fucking chaos. But yeah. So
What was the music scene for you like, Denny, like when you were in your teenage years and were you going out to gigs? Watching
Yeah, it was
bands?
like a good time, to be fair, because like getting in a band at that age, at like 13 and 14 or whatever, that allowed you then to start going out and seeing the world a little bit more seeing the world a little bit more inside of working men's clubs and pubs, but more of a mature step. But you could obviously go out and have a few drinks and see the sights a bit more from a younger age. So I think from then, of gigging that early, sort of at 14, 15 at pubs and clubs, I just wanted to obviously go out and see gigs and watch my favourite bands and whatnot. But obviously being in Dewsbury, there's no that you can be watching or anything in Dewsbury. So we went to Leeds and spent the majority of my time in Leeds before obviously I moved to Manchester. For about 3 or 4 years, the music scene was pretty solid. Like the Cockpit was, pretty much at its peak. There was the Joseph Well, there's the Wardrobe, there's Hi-Fi, there's the Academies, and they were full pretty much every weekend of different gigs and different artists. I can see Sid laughing at me. I'm going to bring it up. Right? I'm going to bring it up.
Carry on, come back.
Just because I'm not having, you see someone going and laughing at you, think I'm going to call that out. I'm not having any of that.
You and Joseph as well. That was all.
I don't know why I mentioned Joseph as well, actually. But yeah, I think that was sort of a turning point as well to make me want to strive to do it even more. So going out and seeing the bands actually doing it. Leeds got quieter after then. They moved to Manchester at about 18, 19. Leeds sort of died down and didn't really produce or wasn't really a live city anymore, I guess. And then came to Manchester, and that was like, shit, the music scene here is unreal. That's pretty much one of the reasons why I came here, to be honest, because I was in a band called the Cavels before this one. Just split up with my previous band. I started this band Cavels while I was at college in Huddersfield, music college, and was 18, just finished music college, didn't know what I wanted to do, so moved to Manchester. I've been going there quite a bit over the last few months, and I came here and the music scene was just rife. It was off its head everywhere. I was like, I'm moving here, 100%. So I moved here and brought the band here.
Because what's the difference? Just the
keep
amount
picking
of
up the wrong
venues?
beer, by the way. An empty beer, I'm picking up. This one's a full on this side. So if you keep reminding me, lads, yeah.
You just keep getting your sponsorship deal in there, mate. You just keep getting that in, get that label in. But is it because is there just more venues or there's just more bands? Is it just generally just because it's
what do you mean, Manchester as opposed to Leeds?
Yeah.
I think it was like more a sort of wider variety, more accepting of different stuff happening, like across the music scene as well, but across the culture of it in general as well, which I think the culture drove the music scene to a degree over here. Everything was quite open-minded, where I think in Leeds I felt it was very sort of one way or the other. It was very indie and very light, or it was really heavy and really sort of dark, I guess. And coming here, there was just, I can remember seeing about 6 different genres of bands probably in my first couple of weeks of being here, because it was so eclectic. I don't know, I can't describe it. I was only probably 18 then, but
around then, because I think it's mad that your interpretations are different, because, and I don't know, I think Ryan will probably have the same opinion as me. For a while here, it kind of got very samey. You know what I mean? Obviously for you it's different coming from the side, but I've spoke to you about this before. About how it was kind of, it stereotyped itself a little bit, like where it's like you can't. I always found it was if either you look like you're in Oasis or no one give a shit about you, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a little feeling. I don't know, Ryan. Did you feel that, or was it different for you?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think Manchester's always had that stereotype, and that's what makes it exceptionally difficult for Manchester bands to do things out of the box. Although there has been some fantastic bands who've gone far out of the box and done really well. I think the most unique thing at recent times which springs to mind is like Woo Life.
Yes,
they definitely broke the mold. That album's phenomenal. Still play that.
It's cracking.
Yeah, so I suppose it's exceptionally difficult for bands to break that in Manchester. As opposed to elsewhere.
I didn't. I probably wasn't feeling that pressure and that build up and that burn from that, because I didn't grow up throughout that kind of thing. I knew about Oasis and that, obviously, and I liked Oasis and stuff, but I'd never actually been absorbed in that one band mentality. We didn't really have that in Leeds. You know, that sort of. But coming in from the side, I suppose I didn't. I just saw people probably trying that, Ryan, like you said, people trying to do something different, and the beginning of something. I guess I saw sort of from my angle, but I can imagine from your point of view, it was probably a stage where every single band you looked at was probably the same.
I suppose that wasn't the same for you, but again, I'm not saying that it's like that anymore. I'm saying it's like it's starting for a while now. It's being encouraged to be slightly different and stuff like that. I think that because obviously Oasis was so long ago now, and the city's kind of dispersed. That the right word to use a little bit, and like there's pockets of different people now. I don't think there's really a scene in Manchester. I think there's just a lot of creative people just wanting to like get a lot of feelings and emotions out and stuff like that, because it feels like a bit of a forgotten city up here when it compared to London in the industry and stuff like that.
Now,
now. But I suppose, with the internet and stuff, it's got a lot better. It's kind of, you can take influence from a lot more different places now and see.
100%. I mean, when I'm talking about the scene that I was talking about, then that's like however many years ago. That was when I first come across the pond. I'm going to say it's not the pond, is it? It's the Pennines. But now, referring to now, I completely agree. It seems even more emphasised to be able to try and do what you want, I guess.
It's good, isn't it? It's good now. I like it. It's inspiring. So, at the end of Cavell's, obviously, when they split up, you had a little bit of a gap, didn't you, there? And then I know we were talking about doing stuff for a while, weren't we? Always been interested to, because obviously we've been friends for a bit, and it was always like, if we ever got the opportunity, we would do something together, wouldn't we? So then when the opportunity came up, how did you find that time and stuff like that, and finding your feet in this band and that? Because it was mad, wasn't it?
It was funny, yeah, because like you said, after Cavell's, I had a good few years, good couple of years, at the very least, out of doing anything. And I said, exactly like you said, we always said that, you know, who should all happen? If we can ever do it, then we will. But then we never thought it'd turn up. We never thought it would, because you were obviously in a different band and you were doing your thing, which was great. And then I'd obviously met James and Ryan and everyone, and sort of started coming to see your gigs and whatnot.
Once. You came and watched one.
No.
Let's not pretend that you're that's not that you pretend you're a number one fan here.
I know exactly.
You came once in Leeds. In Leeds.
Did you buy a ticket?
Did I? No, I probably did actually support you. One of your last that. I know I'll come to some before that.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you
but
were
I
looking,
wanted to
you were
prove,
looking at a different way.
a point. I wanted to prove a point to say, nah, come on, come over here. This is where you want to be with me. You know what I mean? Trying to put some
Is that what it was?
That's what it was.
It was your fault, all this.
Treating him in. All this is my fault. But yeah, it was interesting. And then when we, finally got the opportunity to do that, when you guys no longer had any commitments, and obviously I didn't have any for a couple of years. We finally, pretty much straight away got in the studio, got in Granada, in Manchester, and got a room and started going straight away, pretty much. And that's when we all just kind of threw our heads together in one barrel.
Freedom years.
The freedom years.
It was, mate. It was
It
great.
makes it sound like it is. Yeah.
It seems like a while ago now, but it was a great little thing we had going. Wanted to just literally turn up, record, get off.
Yeah.
On it.
At whatever time you wanted. You come in at 11 o'clock at night, record till 3 a.m, go home. Sound.
It was amazing.
It was class, wasn't
it? That gave us the time and space we needed, though, to crack it. It took a while.
Yeah, it did.
But without having that space, and that's a big challenge as well for bands, is finding a space, a rehearsal space, or a place to go and record or make loud noise. We were really, really blessed with that place. I really do miss it as well, actually.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
we were lucky, weren't we? Was it because it was Tommy's band at the time? They were rehearsing there. We came and just moved our stuff in a little bit, didn't we? Is that what happened? And then it was just they had a little spare room on the side from the rehearsal room, and we were just locked in that little, like a cubby. It was like a cupboard on it. We had a little recording set up and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was an old studio. That was the beauty of it. It was an old Foley studio for recording like sound effects and stuff. And
it was, wasn't it? That was the little room for, yeah.
So it was all soundproofed. It had all the cables running through to the next room and stuff. The multi-core. It was brilliant, yeah.
And they knocked it down.
Yep, they knocked it down.
The dream was over.
What were there, a year? Were they a year, just over a year?
I think it was just over a year, yeah. I don't miss the smell of it.
No, the smell was a bit funky.
It was, but yeah. So then literally when we started that, Denny, and obviously we were recording that at first, and it was kind of just throwing ideas about and everything. And then when we decided, actually, no, we're enjoying this now, we should look to start rehearsing these tunes or get recorded and stuff like that. You ended up on bass guitar, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
To my initial despair, but joy at the same time, because I knew I knew what I was going to put myself through for a little bit. But yeah, obviously I played bass in the Cavelles, and obviously sang was the front man in there, but I had bass, tried and play bass, which I enjoyed playing bass, don't get me wrong. Like, when I first got told I was going to play bass and sing, when I was younger, like in the first start of bands, I was upset and pissed off that bass is singing, all right, yeah, it's cool, isn't it? A nice one. So I was fuming with that. But then I did it, and then I found it was all right. And then when we started...
some cool bass players who sing.
Yeah, which is what I have to come up with every conversation when I used to be in the band. Yeah. Paul McCartney, yeah. Oh, Sting, yeah. Bill Lennon, yeah.
Will Lennon?
Yeah, Will Lennon.
Oh, right.
I'm scared of saying his name wrong every time, so I'll say it dead quick so you can't. But yeah, so then it felt like the right thing to do, because at that point we had two guitarists and keys and drums and a bassist, and you were singing, which was the right thing to do, and I were going to support you singing, but then with the tunes we were playing were pretty mad.
You went in the studio.
So sometimes, what?
Remember the studio? First time we went in, you were playing bass.
Yeah.
Hated it, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm going to build up to that point. That was going to be my end point. Say,
sorry, mate.
No, I wasn't joking.
No, I
didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It was, I think when you've got a true. It's like you've got a true passion for something, and you want to do something right. And imagine you're a footballer, but you love football and you want to play football, but you're a striker. And this is no disrespect to any position on the pitch compared to what musician you're in a band at all, but you want to be up front and that, and you want to be doing what you think you're good at and you're passionate about, but you want to still play the game and be involved. So therefore, you'd reduce yourself to be the defender or the keeper or something. And I think that's probably how I felt. Even when I was in the Cavell's front in that with the bass, sometimes I didn't feel like I was able to really concentrate on my performance as a vocalist or a performer to a degree. Don't get me wrong, I give it a good go. I'm not a weasel. I did all right with it, but yeah. So I knew I want the world's best bassist as well because of that. Because I like to concentrate on my vocals, and when I was in previous bands, and I didn't give it the time of day because I wanted to sing and write music and stuff. And then we went into the studio and played and recorded a couple of songs, and obviously I was just nervous and just I don't know. It was a lot of pressure. It wasn't like me, I guess. But
I was exactly the same though for myself in previous bands when I was playing guitar. Like it's just the fear gets you, and then there's no way out of it. It's just like you just want to. It's like you're getting chased by a tiger in it, and you just want to get out of there quick.
Yeah.
So you can't even think about what you're playing. But like it was tough.
But back to that body of me, I think I haven't rounded that point off before about the football analogy that I give you. But obviously I wanted to be a singer. That's what my thing. I wanted to be up there being a singer and being the striker, if you like. And I didn't really want to be a bassist. I think you spotted that. I think I remember I was having a pint in the bath with my dad. And I'm doing that for people that's not heard that saying before, but there's a local pub round by me called the Bath Hotel, and it's called the Bath. That's where my dad drinks. You imagine having to answer the phone to your mates when you're having a drink with your dad at the local boozer, and they say, "What are you doing, Demas? Where are you?" And I go, I'm just in Bath with my dad. They go, "What?" "Yeah, I'm just in Bath with my dad, and my mum's here and all." "So are you?" Imagine that. And I didn't realise until someone actually said, that's, oh God, yeah. But anyway, that's right. for the listeners that. But and then you text me saying there's something up here, and there's what's going on here, kind of thing, and sort of tried to crack me, didn't you, and talk about it.
Yeah, man. Well, it was obvious. I think Ryan will agree. Like you weren't comfortable. You didn't see yourself around that point, and then it was like we were talking to Matt about it when you weren't there and stuff, and he was like, he was saying, "Well, what can you do?" And we were like, "Well, you can sing," you know what I mean? And then I think you got a little glimpse in that session of your vocal, and we were like, "Oh, hold on a minute." And then obviously the next few times after,
it's when we went down, like when we did that, and I played bass on that part of the earliest stuff, and then I did a bit of backing vocals, and we did a bit of sort of melody writing for some middle eights of the tracks, and then we went back, didn't we? Us three, and did a vocal session with Matt and George, and that was my French, fucking incredible. Yeah, it was like fucking walking straight into the light, man. It was incredible. Like I was able then, and going to, which we've talked about and you've discussed before, but the meaning of the band and going back into that element, you've not really touched on it yet, but that for me was like coming out and doing that thing that I wanted to, and getting from behind that bass guitar at the time. That was the obstacle for me to put down, to do and put myself out there, and it was that. And we had a cracking time down there for a couple of days, and recorded 3 or 2.5 tracks, I think, didn't we? And really come into our own and started writing a few more little sort of melodic parts between us. And
I think, mate, out of probably everyone, I mean, I know we've all been on our own personal journeys throughout the band and stuff like that, but I think out of yourself, you're probably the best representation of the meaning behind the band. I was kind of like stepping out of your comfort zone, coming out of the dark into the light, like you've just said, and stuff like that. And obviously for me and Ryan to watch and observe, like the way you've improved and the confidence, because obviously going in to the studio, I'd worked with Matt before, so I knew what it was about, and I knew he could get the best out of me. But obviously, when you're working with a producer for the first time, it's difficult because you need to get into each other's kind of zone and stuff like that.
That's as a vocalist as well, isn't it? You mean?
Yeah, as a vocalist, definitely as a vocalist, mate. Definitely. You're in that booth alone with everyone in the room behind you. They can hear everything that's going on. You're just stuck there going, "Is it shy? Is it shy?" Yeah, and it's like you don't know what anyone's saying. You don't know what anyone's saying in there and stuff like that. And you're giving it your all. And
you're waiting for end at take, and you hear Matt going, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, we're good." Oh God, do I think it's good? No,
yeah.
It
is, man. It is when you're in there, man. It's horrible.
Obviously, but Matt, like you told me that backstory, and Ryan's alluded to this a lot before we went down to record with Matt, because you did it with your previous outfit in Cooper's, didn't you? And you went and recorded with him, and you were saying he sort of gets the best out of you, and sort of he goes in sort of hard to get that, which is great. And my first experience of going in with him and doing that, he did exactly that and got that out of me and showed me the sort of different ways to be a vocalist again, like it did with you, in terms of timing or pitching or discipline or anything like that, and is able to open that up. And I think he likes his vocal sessions.
He does. Well, he's a singer. He's a singer himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he understands, but his vocal production is incredible. Like what he's done for me, and I think you'll agree and say the same. Like it's just brings you completely out of your shell and just gets you into that character who you actually want to be, but are too scared to be. Maybe you know what I mean. And it's kind of like he brings that out of you, and like mate, it has been a pleasure to watch from the side just how much, especially on that last session. Obviously, the people aren't heard the tunes yet and stuff, so but it's about it's coming and stuff. Exactly. So no one will see this side, like the vulnerable side. And there is a vulnerable side, isn't there, to all of us? Especially when we're in the studio, because you're naked under that lens, and it's like you've really stood yourself these past few times, mate. So I'm sure Ryan will agree as well. So yeah.
No, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. We've seen each other progress as well. But Ryan, obviously, you said the sort of same thing before I went down and recorded with Matt, didn't you, about how he'll be able to get the most out of you, like, and spend time with you, if you like.
Yeah, it's very consultative, if that's a word.
If it's not, it should be.
It should be. It is now. And yeah, I think the biggest thing for you, Luke, was that you actually weren't enjoying the bass, and therefore you weren't performing in that role. As soon as you switched to singing, it's what you wanted to do. It was what you were good at, and therefore your performance was amazing. I think that's a really important thing is to highlight, which kind of transcends everything really, is that if someone's not enjoying what they're doing, then the chances are is they're not going to be very good at it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a one end of the spectrum of it. But, if you're not really happy with what you're doing, you really should try and look and do something else.
I've never actually thought about it that way.
Yeah.
In fact, I've subconsciously delivered a beautiful message to the world.
You have, yeah. You've packaged it up nicely there.
I'm taking that myself. Thanks for describing it.
Packaged it, yeah. It was nice little analogy.
No, but thanks.
Describe
And
the situation.
I agree with you in that sense. Like, I weren't enjoying it, so I weren't putting into it. I was worrying too much about, like Sid said when he was in the booth, and he'd worry about people thinking stuff. You'd do that and you'd get inside your own head and you wouldn't be able to be the performer, because deep down you didn't really want to be that performer doing that particular thing. You wanted to be doing something else. So therefore, exactly like you say, why and how can you put the best into it if you're telling yourself you can't be or you don't want to be?
It's you can go back to the football analogy. Is there's some fantastic footballers, but where you get the best out of them is in their preferred positions. If you're pulling them out of position, the chemistry's not there, they become unhappy, or they're not quite fitting in that position. So
Tony Marshall's just going through this constantly, isn't he? He doesn't have a clue where he is. He's Luke Denver. He needs to listen to this.
Goes through that.
Yeah, he needs to listen to this. Right, he'll get some inspiration from you here. Definitely. But so what's your general meaning behind the band, then? You know, like, or the thought behind the meaning of the band, and how do you interpret that into? Well, you've just kind of spoke about that kind of stuff, and how, you know, has it enlightened you into becoming a better person and stuff like that? And does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I knew where you were going to start with, and then you.
I went every week.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in terms of where you personally come from, and I think when we went back to what we were writing about and what the meaning was at Granada when we first started, and the message of the band and what we were trying to achieve, and that kind of stuff, being able to develop alongside that and with that, I think was definitely something that sort of transforms your outlook, transforms your being. It goes back to that thing Ryan said: if you're doing something and you don't really like doing it, and you're not doing it well because you don't like doing it, then to do something else. That's the thing that people don't kind of do. And if you're asking me about the meaning of the band, that goes back to the very start, around it being about that, being stepping out of your comfort zone to be able to go and do something that actually I'm not entirely sure that I can do, but I want to do it, and I'm going to give it my all because I want to achieve that. I want to do that. And I think you can be average at something and continue doing it. You know, you don't have to be poor at it or just not like doing it. You could just be okay at that. But there's something else always there that sort of, I think everyone has that little something that they want to go and do, and it's encouraging that. And I was kind of probably subconsciously encouraged to do that by what I did. I mean, I was a singer in previous band. I've been a singer since for forever, like. But I mean, to come out and be that performer, not in front of that, you know, you're not hiding behind that bass guitar anymore. You're not part of that same outfit that you were for so long, I guess. It was good for me to, you know, move with that message that we were sort of singing about without even realising it, I guess. Without to sound too deep or weird, but it was good, I think. But I think it's sort of, if you look at every single one of us in that respect, we've all been able to develop in monumental different ways. In terms of songwriting has been just continuously developing into a monumental stage. Being able to discuss our ideas and what we have sort of planned and planning to do. And it's all through that thought of being able to think, oh, fuck it, we're going to go and do it. If we're going to do it, we'll do it well. We're going to do it properly. And it's encouraging that behaviour as well, I think. I've gone for the wrong beer again, everyone. I started to admit my own mistakes. I don't care anymore. I've told you twice.
I've got a question for both of you based on what Luke's just said, which I find really interesting.
That was great. Sorry,
Luke, you mentioned about...
I rambled is what I did then. Sorry, go on.
You mentioned about being a bass player and a singer, and said you've also been in this situation where you were a guitarist and a singer. Is it difficult to put that instrument down and then just hold a microphone? Yeah, because I've tried it.
That's a great question.
And it was difficult and it felt absolutely weird, but it's the same thing, but you're doing less. But I actually found it quite exciting as well.
Yeah, because I've seen videos of you, mate, when you do that kind of stuff.
I absolutely love the role.
I've seen them videos.
You're applying for the role to start. I want to be lads, let me move. Then, as you've moved from bassist singer, I'm doing it now.
I just inspired him with your story.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not happy with this. I want to do this.
Right, yeah, so basically I'm the singer now. No, I just think it's interesting because you see, like, you kind of don't even stop to think about it, where you have bands and they have a guitarist who sings. That's really common.
There's definitely two ways, Ryan. There's two ways. Like the one way is stripping it away, so then you just, especially on stage, it's the hands, what to do with the hands, what to do now with all this space to move into and stuff like that. For me, Denny, I think we spoke about this, so you probably agree, but it's like, it's that on stage, it's weird and it's going to take a bit of getting used to.
I completely agree.
Off stage, I couldn't have made a better decision because for me, I've always rather wanted to be a singer. I've never really been that interested about guitars. Like I know you are, Ryan, and stuff like that. So it was just an instrument for me to write tunes on. So being able to just concentrate on my vocals now, I just feel like I've really, really improved on that, and it's just been nice just to have one thing to focus on.
Yeah, I agree. I thought you kind of think that when you're playing an instrument and singing at the same time, you always, I don't know about you, but I did always think about singing without it. You always think about, that's kind of a fantasy, like, I imagine singing without an instrument and what that'd be like, and but you never would. One, it's in the band.
Get into that last song. Yeah, that last song, taking it off and going into the car.
But yeah, taking it off completely and being a band behind you, it is an interesting move, because all of a sudden, from a vulnerable point of view and an honest point of view, you have absolutely no idea what to do with your hands or even with your legs at that point. Everything goes, no idea. What would you do with a guitar? I can't do what I did with the guitar on, because that just look weird. We can't
little sidestep. Don't work, is it tapping your foot there?
So you can't really do that. But yeah, it was a weird one, but it allowed you, like Sid was just said, it allowed me to actually open up, belt a particular lyric out or particular note out and proper feel it and get involved with it to a point where, eyes are closed, you're dead looking down, you're proper flying straight head on into it. You couldn't do that when you're playing a bass guitar, absolutely not. To continue going on with drummer as you're trying to do it along. So it was, and I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed doing that, but it was never been able to completely fully commit to that.
Have we sold it, Ryan? Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, Ryan looks excited now about his next chapter.
What about a one-man band?
Yeah. Have you seen him in Manchester? We need to give him a complete shout out. He's fantastic.
It's called Buddy One Man Band.
Yes. He's got the drumstick on his head, hasn't he?
Fantastic as well. He's really good. He's got a great voice.
He has got a good voice.
Yeah. Great voice.
We might invite him to be the bassist in the band to then progress to be a vocalist someday. That would seem to be doing that, yeah.
So do you think that your early listenings to Squeeze in the car with your dad influenced the concept of having two singers and two frontmen?
Oh my God. I didn't even know where you were going.
That is a belting way in that.
I mean, we've been called Bill and Ben before, and a few other typical partnerships, but we've never been called Chris and go on, finish it off.
Glenn,
of course. Glenn Tilbrook, Glenn Nearly.
Never.
Nice. That's actually
mad.
True.
That's mad.
How do you manage that dynamic then between you both? Obviously, we've got two frontmen, we've got two singers, two different personalities, two different voices. So,
have you seen us play pool? Seen us play pool
as a team?
No, not as a team.
No. Against each other.
Oh my God! It's horrendous. It's horrendous. We're quite competitive on the side.
Yeah, we are.
He's the master at pretending that he's won games when he's shaking his head.
He's taking this opportunity to try and bring up a pool game that we had. Ryan's asking about the band and that. Here he is talking about a pool game. Yeah, we know it was 3-3, mate. Shut up, sit down. Ryan, come on we go.
I'm not ever going to argue with you. Think of it.
Use this opportunity to call that sort
Roxy, whatever. They know. I told them.
Roxy music
on your way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's difficult, innit? People have asked us that though, because people have been genuinely interested in the fact that there is two people up front, and when we obviously started the band and stuff and started writing music, we were behind closed doors for good 18 months, 2 years, doing what we're doing, and people weren't seeing it or really understanding it. And when we let on to people and let people know what we're doing, they were like, "What, you've got two frontmen that don't have guitars or don't do anything?" And in this type of climate, it wasn't something that people did. There was obviously a few people that did it or whatever, but and I think that different. Yeah, we did probably.
It wasn't planned again, was it?
No,
not at all.
But thinking about it, like that's everything that it kind of should have been before we even ever thought about that. And it just kind of, I guess, happened through nature.
Where do you kind of take your influences from then, for in terms of performances as a frontman? Like, who do you think absolutely dominates that role really well? That's a question to both of you, really. I'm not talking frontman with instruments now. I'm talking like specifically just standalone. Does anyone spring to mind?
That's a good question, mate. Because for me, sorry to answer first, because I don't think I've got an answer. I
think you should.
I'm still struggling to find I think it's going to come with us live when we do more gigs and that, find our feet a bit more. But like there's not really, because it's just brand new. There's not really anyone like I'm watching how people that influence me, so all the rappers and stuff like that do it, but I can't go into that side of things because it's going to be too cringy. I like the Beastie Boys on stage. I'd 100% do what they do.
Yeah. I like the energy they bring.
The energy, man, that they bring. I'd go for that. So that's probably my biggest influence. I've not got to that stage yet where I've again been vulnerable and honest, and that it's not. I don't feel like I've let go on stage yet, but I think that will come in time. What about you, Dennis?
I think you both have. I think you don't realise it yet, but watching the pair of you from our point of view, it's quite a powerful image, and you both bounce off each other really well live. So yeah,
that's a nice. For everyone that doesn't know us, that's a lovely compliment from Ryan. Don't hand them out that easy.
That's not free.
That for free.
Well, we do actually definitely bounce off each other. Like
I retract that. I retract that comment then. Retract that.
Of course. Why?
I'm joking. Explain. Go on then, Luke. Does anyone spring to mind for you at the a front man without no weapon?
A front man without no weapon.
Smash this one.
That's a great question. I'm
not sure. They're a rare breed, but like
they are a rare breed. I think what I'm trying to do here is look at ages ago. Try and think about something that's from decades ago, when in fact I don't think I should be looking in that area, because I can't particularly think of any that's rocked my boat. It's like you ask that question where when you ask you go to YouTube and put something on YouTube. YouTube, when you put something on YouTube, you can't think what to put.
Sponsored YouTube.
So you went with Beastie Boys. I think in terms of it, in an entertainment point of view, would instantly for me probably go to sort of more hip hop rap sort of. If I'm thinking a man without an instrument, I'm thinking of that element of it. When I was younger, watching Eminem, I got Curtains Closed album, and my brother took me to HMV and got it, and it was parental advisory version, so no swearing with it at all. I was the laughing stock of my fucking year group.
It just
I didn't know the swear words. I was singing all stupid words like pancakes and stuff. But I think that interested me as a kid. But I can't think of one for some reason, even though there's a few out there. I can't think of one without a weapon.
Loads.
Ryan.
There's loads.
I know there is. And you've caught me off guard, mate, and I don't know what
I think it's such an iconic role, and what I find really interesting about it as well is the singers who, like both of yourselves, started off on an instrument and developed musicality on an instrument, which then obviously I assume is easier to kind of sing and understand musical concepts. Whereas if you imagine people like
fell off his bench.
I just fell off my swing.
I imagine people like Morrissey. I don't think he had much of a musical background, and Ian Brown and Ian Curtis.
They were
thinking about them. I could go and name like there's amazing ones. Obviously, Freddie Mercury and that, and Liam Gallagher being another. But I suppose I thought I took the question to say what influenced me to be, because I didn't want to be Freddie, even though I love Freddie Mercury. I didn't want to be like Freddie Mercury. God rest his soul. Like I love him, but I don't want to be like him. Liam Gallagher, I love him and all. I don't want to be like him either.
I've
I was
got a
trying to
theory.
think of one that's got me. I think all my icons have been like with a weapon. I think I've just realised that, apart from rappers. Anyway, go on, everyone.
It's like, I think it's difficult because we're a pair. And it's like because we're trying to work out our performance off each other. So we're influencing each other a little bit, aren't we? You know what I mean? Where it's like, I could look at Eminem and say, oh, I want to be Eminem on stage or whatever. Try all his moves and that. But then I can't just be doing that because then I'm forgetting about you on the side of me, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like we're trying to work off each other. So we're just finding our own feet. I mean, definitely the energy of the Beastie Boys, 100%.
I like the moving about and the energy on stage is something that we've been able to, and like we were talking about then, coming from behind an instrument to go up front. We've not just come from behind an instrument to go up front on our own. We've come from behind an instrument to come up front together as a two-piece, and it is generally harder to think about than a one man up front, because a one man can just stay, stood still doing his thing. But we've had to come up and think about it differently, which it's more advanced, and I think we've enjoyed it, and I think you'll see, there's going to be more times where we come out of our shell and develop even more throughout wherever this journey takes us.
In a couple of years, when we're allowed,
oh God, don't mention that, God's sake.
But yeah, man, that's great. It's great. But yeah, I think that's a nice introduction of you to the world, Denzel. I think
it was a nice introduction.
We're going to keep this. We're going to definitely, again, I keep saying this at the end of everything I'm doing. We're going to keep it up, but I'm finding it really, really interesting just learning about my mates, because I don't think we really talked about. We talk about so much random shit. When it comes to like where we came from and stuff like that, and backstories and that, we don't really go into. So I find it really interesting. So
no, it is good.
I'm happy with that, mate. If you are.
I'm happy with it. Because everything that's gone on, how happy are you, Ryan, out of 10?
I'm a good solid 9.5.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, fire. Yeah. That's another one.
Mate. It's been a nice introduction, that, mate.
I've enjoyed it. It's been a lovely chat. I think it's good what we're doing, opening up the conversation. I think it's good for everyone. In particular, that bird that was tweeting behind Ryan earlier on.
That bird could
on a phone, or the animal.
No, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
the owl will be out later on. They have an owl there.
They make a different sort of noise.
Yeah, they do.
But thanks again for everyone if you have tuned in, comment, like, subscribe, help us out the best you can if you've enjoyed it, and we'll come back with some more ridiculously ear-pleasing mouth noises from the depths of somewhere.
I'll try my best not to laugh then.
But LOAstate. But yeah, thank you.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody.